All right, yeah, shall we start? So we have completed your financial management lesson. So now start with the past paper discussion plus some of the questions from the MCQ book as well, right? So let's focus on the past papers today, and I'll let you know the question numbers that you need to start working on that MCQ resource book. So where you get the full understanding about this lesson. So I think 2020 A-level, we discussed the MCQ part, the first paper, and there are a couple of questions from part 2 as well. I'll share my screen and I'll give you, some sort of a time for you to come up with an answer and let's discuss. So we'll continue like that. And also 2019-18, let's see what kind of questions they have asked from this particular area, right? Now, if you see the MCQs, that is probably MCQs 20, 25, so that range. And also, especially when it comes to lesson question number 7, that they have checked areas from this lesson. Now, let me share my screen first and let's complete 2020 paper. So then we can move forward with the rest of the questions. Yes, when it comes to 2020 paper, we discussed this part. And shall we start working on both question 2A and B? And also question number 3A. Right, so if you see the mark allocations, 4 marks, 4 plus 4, 8, 8 plus 2, 10, right? And also a couple of questions from part 1 as well. Right, so here's the first question. What is capitalization of reserves? Capitalization of reserves. Right, I'll give like 2 minutes for this question. Can you come up with an answer, please? Just 2 marks. You can get 2 marks by answering for this question. Right. Now, before we talk about capitalization of reserves, what do you mean by reserves? Right? When you come to a listed company, reserves, manatang api kena retain earnings kila. So retained earnings is where in a company, the profits belong to the shareholders, right? So somehow you will calculate the gross profit and the net profit. So net profit will be shared, right? So the question arises whether you will be distributing this profit 100%. Now, for example, your profit is 100 million, right? So question arises whether you distribute this whole 100 million or you keep some percentage, for your future purposes. You keep some profit, right? So let's say just 10%, so which is 10 million. Likewise, every year 10%. So then there will be a fund like this, the retained earnings. Now what you're trying to do, right? You will be capitalize this. So what do you mean by capitalization? According to a ratio, you will be providing shares, right, based on these reserve. So the capital consists of the stated capital, your ordinary shareholder, right, ordinary share capital plus retained earnings. So if you think about a stated capital, because anyway this is something should belong to the ordinary shareholders, but without distributing you kept it. So that is why when we are calculating stated capital, right, ordinary share capital plus retained earnings. Right. Now what you're trying to do, right? From the retained earnings, you are trying to convert into shares. So where your ordinary share capital will be increased, retained earnings will be decreased, but there won't be any impact to your stated capital. It will be remain same, right? So you need to first state what do you mean by reserves or returns, retained earnings. So that's why you start the answer. So just first explain what are reserves, and then you can come up with the capitalization part, and you can also let them know what is share capital, what is stated capital, consists of these two parts, and then you can tell, according to ratio, based on the number of shares each shareholder holds, that you will be allocating shares from this amount. And also you need to mention the fact that in order to do so, you need to get the permission. You need to get the permission from the CSC, right? So full permission is required for you to do. Why? Because when you are trying to capitalize the retained earnings, the company's ordinary share capital will be increased. So that is why you need to have the prior permission to do so from the Colombo Stock Exchange. So if you mention these facts, I think you will be able to get the full marks out of the question, right? Which is just 2 marks they have allocated, right? So can we come up with this short note? And then I'll also share a kind of a sample question as well from the market scheme and also a theory note. Right, guys. So coming to our theory note, so this is how we explain capitalizing of reserves. You can just mention it's a process of the reserves of the company, being converted into share capital. You can mention it. So the existing owner shareholders receive these new shares according to a certain ratio. It's not that everyone will be receiving the same amount of shares, right? Because that will be depend on the number of shares that you have in that company. Because otherwise, for the major shareholders, that will be unfair, right? So based on a certain ratio, the ratio will be depend on the number of shares that you have. So then you will be able to receive these new shares. So when capitalizing the reserves, the declared capital, yes, that you mean by the stated capital. The similar words are so declared capital stated, meaning same, it makes sense, right? Stated or declared capital, right, of the company will be increased. So for this process of the capitalizing of the reserves, so the complete permission from the Colombo Stock Exchange should be obtained. So that also important part. If you need to mention it, please, the complete permission of the CSE should be obtained. That also, if you mention, I hope you'll be get the full marks for that question, right? Just 2 marks from 2020 part 2 paper. Well, so moving to my next question. So everything we have completed in our the discussion of the theory parts, right? Now again, right, a straightforward question. State 4 advantages of investing in government securities for an investor, right? So those are the investor's point of view. You need to make sure that what sort of advantages that you get by investing in government securities, right? You need to make sure you write 4 advantages. Guys, what do you think? 4 advantages. Right, 1 minute I'll give you. Yeah, you can gain an idea about how the economy perform, but is that a real benefit to you? Huh? Is that a real benefits? Guys, we talk about the investing in the treasury bills and treasury bonds, right? Let me show you that link as well. If you refer the CBSL, you probably find it, right? I share those stuff with you here. This could be a possible kind of a question could be checked, right? So let me share my screen. So, if you go to the government securities market, the central bank website, it shows that. So because I extracted those stuff from the site, it is an absolutely risk-free investment since issued by the government, right? In a government full assurance. Since treasury bills and bonds are tradable in the secondary market, you know what secondary market, right? From the primary dealers, and they'll be selling in the secondary market. So it is possible to obtain instant liquidity by selling them. Make a 100% liquid active, make a highly liquid product, whereas you can easily convert into cash, and all receipts of the interest and maturity proceeds of the foreign investments are fully repatriable. It's possible to have a joint investment with some other persons. Government securities are subject to withholding tax, are not subject, right? So kind of a tax-free. The CBSL maintain this investment in the state-of-art central deposit system, where you get the fully access to these SDS or SS that we talk about, those guys, scriptless securities depository system, Emanata scriptless securities settlement system. Well, can we come up with this one? I'll also share these benefits with the group as well. And also, if you just Google it, you will be able to find, right? So as you see, they have just extracted from those from the central bank website. So kind of I would say a detailed explanation is provided in this Financial Times article. If you would like to have some additional knowledge, you can also refer. I'll be share that article as well. Right, so you have to write 4 quarter 2020 A level. You need to write 4 reasons, right? 4 advantages. So where it will give you 0.5 marks into 4, 2 marks. Now imagine how easy that you can grab quick answers, right? Because why I always tell you guys, there are some questions, those are straightforward questions. The කෙලින්ම අහන ප්‍රශ්න, දැන් ඒකේ බලන්න ඊට කලින් question එක what is capitalization of reserves. ඒතකොට ඒක අමුතෙන් හිතන්න දෙයක් නැහැ, right? You have to just write. Second also same. But if you think about the first one, you need to calculate, get an answer, or maybe some written question that you need to think and write. So it might take time, but those stuff you have to just write it. So this is why you can save time, because you don't have to spend time on thinking. You can just start writing. Well, so with that, shall we move to the next question? Question 3A. Guys, this is also available in the group as well, just letting you know that. Right, shall we focus on the next question, please? Mention 4 imports of the share price indices to investors, giving the 4 reasons. Api indexes කීපයක් කතා කරා. Right, all share price index, ASPI, S&P SL20 index, total return index. Right? මෙතන ඔයගෙන් index එක ගැන අහන්න නැහැ. මේගොල්ලෝ අහන එකේ තියෙන imports එක මොනවාද? web එකකට ගම why you need to use those index, right? They are not specifically asked which index, but generally they are asking what sort of benefits or important to the investors. So that is also just 2 marks. If you come up with 4 points, it will give you 2 marks. Right, so that also straight away given, guys. If you just refresh your knowledge, ability to gain some knowledge about the performance of the economy, right? Ability to gain some knowledge about the functioning of the companies, because you know I showed it practically, right? මම ඒකේ ඔයාලට practical insight එකකුත් දුන්නා කොහොමද daily basis ඔයා මේක check කරන්නේ, how we do calculate those stuff, right? And also able to compare the share market conditions with other countries. When you say sometimes you might heard about Colombo Stock Exchange performs well in South Asian, among share markets, so best in Asia, today's performance likewise. And also able to get assistance in making investment decisions. That's really important because if you are a regular investor, so they always refer to those index. Right, so the summary when you come to 2020 paper, except question number 7.1, right? Apart from these calculations, all are straightforward question where you can get the full marks. The calculation part also is not that much tough. 4 marks for 4 ratios they have checked. So it's a matter of calculating. They are given all the figures. Right, now what do you think about the 2020 weightage when you come to this paper? Part 2, the part 2 එකේ ඔයාගේ weightage එක තමයි 8 10 marks. Part 2 එකට ඒගොල්ලෝ allocate කරලා තියෙනවා 10 marks, and if we just look at part 1, right? I'm not exactly sure the part 1 how much they have allocated. Right, 2020 part 1 එකේ ආර තිබුණා questions question number 26, question number 25, 26. Yes, so 2 MCQs which is 4 marks, so 14 marks. There are 14 divided by 2 again 7, so it's like a weightage of a 7 average. ඒ කියන්නේ ලක්ෂ 7ක් තියෙන මුළු total paper එකෙන් 7 marks. Guys, did we discuss these questions? Let me share and ask. 2020 paper එකේ MCQs කීපයක් තියෙනවා නේද? Just let me share the screen. Just let me know whether we discussed that fact. Right. So this also shared to group. I'll share those. You can check your answers. Right. Just let me know whether we discuss this part. If not, can you please start working on these 2 questions, please? So guys, 2020 paper, right? Average of 7 scores the allocated marks for this lesson. Right, I'll give you 2 minutes, and I need your answers as well. Please communicate with the chat and send me the answers. Now these are the questions, right? We need to think, because it's not straight away you calculate the current ratio, quick ratio. So this is where you need time. These are a set of questions you need to practice. Now try to compare the question number 25, 26. So 26 straight away you can get it, right? Because it's just a matter of selecting the markets belong to the capital market. You know, capital market is for your long-term requirements, right? You'll be going to the capital market. So it's just a matter of picking, you know, up the set of options. But 25, you have to think and come with an answer. Right. Anyway, I'm still waiting for your answers. Please share your answers to the question number 25 and 26. You guys want to think question number 25? Right. So I'll start with the question number 26. Have you taken a ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. 25 I'll come to the board and explain. මේ බලන්න. දැන් මෙතනින් අහන්න belongs to capital market නේ. So the long term financial purposes will be going to the capital market. Whether you are seeking finance or facilities, or you want to invest for the long time, for the long term, and also if you want to borrow money also for the long term, you'll be going to the capital market. Harina Matakan, interbank call money market, can we ever consider that as a capital market? No, that is for the short-term purpose. It's very quite urgent, right? So interbank call money market. So it happens overnight. So then B, corporate bonds. Now when you say bonds, guys, so those are for the long-term purposes, obviously. B should be an option. Commercial paper market, yet again, commercial papers for the short-term financial requirements. Foreign exchange market. Foreign exchange market also, guys, short term. And share market, obviously long term, which is capital market, and also treasury bonds. So if that, in that manner, if you consider, so that need to be D and E and F. Yes, we do have an answer here. Question number 26, question number 3. Right, now what do you think? I'm still waiting for answer. At least, try your level best. I'll give another 1 minute. Please send me an answer. Just at least try and, tell me an answer. Then I can see how we have, approached for this question. Option 4. So are you saying for the question number 25, option 4? Alright, now let's see. හරි මොනවද මේ ප්‍රශ්නයෙන් අහන්නේ? In the last year, the current ratio and the quick ratio of a company were 3:1 and 2:1. Right. අපි බලමු. Current ratio කියන company එකක් තියෙනවා. Right. මේ company එකේ let's assume 2019 නේද? They haven't provided you the year. අපි හිතමු 2019 කියලා. නේද? ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ current ratio එක and quick ratio දීලා තියෙනවා 3:1 and 2:1, right? ඊට පස්සේ මොනවද කියන්නේ respectively. So while current ratio remains unchanged in the current year. එහෙනම් මේකනේ past year එක මෙන්න අපේ current year එක. දැන් current year එක current ratio එක පුච්චලා ගන්න එපා. පැහැදිලිනේ? හරි. එහෙනම් මේ තියෙන්නේ අපි assume කරමු 2020. Right? 2020 වල current ratio remains unchanged. But they are saying quick ratio now changed 1, right? They're asking this indicates comparability, right? මොනවාද අහනවා ඒකෙන් කියන්නේ, right? හරි. දැන් අපි බලමු කොහොමද how we calculate the current ratio. Tell me. That is your current assets, right? So talking about the current ratio, right? මෙතන එක තියෙනවානේ කාට පේනවා. හරි. ඔයාගේ current assets divided by current liabilities. ඒ කියන්නේ ඔයාගේ මේ අවුරුදු දෙකේම liabilities වල ලොකු වෙනසක් වෙලා නැහැ. ඒ වගේම current assets. මොකද same ratio එකනේ. වෙනස් වෙලා ඇති but with a certain the same percentage. දැන් අපි example එකක් විදිහට මෙහෙම හිතමු. Right? So in order to get this, you have like current assets, right? Current assets divided by your current liabilities. එහෙම නැත්නම් මේක rate එකක් විතර 3:1 කියන්න පුළුවන්, right? මොකද මෙතන 3යි මෙතන 1යි. දැන් මේක remain unchanged. ඒකෙන් කියන්නේ නැහැ ඔයාගේ current assets උත් මේ අවුරුද්දේ 90,000 නේ කියලා. වෙනස් වෙලා හැබැයි same percentage. It could be something like this, right? ඒක මෙන්න මෙහෙම වෙන්න පුළුවන්. 2020 වල සමහරලාට මේක 270,000 වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Right? මේක 90,000 වෙන්න පුළුවන්. but same ratio නේ. බෙදුවොත් බලන්න. Right? මෙතන 1යි මෙතන 3ක් කියනවා. So end again 3:1. පැහැදිලිද? Ratio remains unchanged. ආගේ figures වෙනස් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. හැබැයි ඒක වෙනස් වෙන්නේ නැහැ කියලා අපිට assume කරන්න පුළුවන්. පැහැදිලිද කතාව? හරි. But when you are thinking about this quick ratio, right? Quick ratio to 1 ඒක 1:1 වෙලා තියෙනවා. හරි. Then now what is the difference? Now what is the difference between current ratio and quick ratio? How you calculate quick ratio? You will be taking, instead of current assets, you will be taking liquid assets. එහෙනම් ඔයාගේ quick ratio එක හදන්නේ කොහොමද? Liquid assets වලින් liquid assets divided by your current liabilities. Current liabilities. Now the question arises, liquid assets. එහෙනම් කොහොමද liquid assets calculate කරන්නේ? ඔයා current assets වලින් අයින් කරනවා මොනවාද? Current assets වලින් ඔයා අයින් කරනවා එකක් ඔයාගේ end of year stock එක, right? Year end stock එක, end of year stock. ඒ වගේම අයින් කරනවා මොනවාද ඔයාගේ prepaid expenses. මොකද prepaid expenses මම මේක explain කරා. දැන් හිතන්න ඔයාගේ ටෙලිෆෝන් බිල් එක ඔයා ලබන මාසෙටත් එක්ක pay කළා නම් can you recover it? No, right? So you'll be anyway for the next month වැඩිපුර ගිහලා තියෙන 10,000. එහෙනම් next month bill එක 12,000 නම් you'll be only paying 2,000, right? That's a very rare chance that you can convert into cash again. I mean, you cannot ask it back. So same thing, end of year stock also it will take some time to convert into cash. In some make a liquid, high liquid කියන එක නැහැ, right? Liquid එකට අඩුයි. So then we deduct current assets වලින් මේක අයින් කරනවා. So if you think about that manner, මේ current ratio, quick ratio 2019 වල මේ තියෙන 2019 figures, right? 2019 වල 21 නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ මෙන්න මේ වගේ දෙයක්. අපි හිතමු කොහොමද ආගේ මේ ratio එක ගත්තේ? Let's say that මෙන්න මේ 90,000 වලින්, right? 21 නේ. $30,000, right? ඔන්න බලන්න. 29 දැන් මේ ඔක්කොම assume figures. මේකට මම පැහැදිලිව කියලා දෙන්න මම මේ කරන්නේ. අපි හිතමු 2019 වල ඔයාගේ end of year stock එක 10,000, right? End of year stock එක 10,000. ඔයාගේ prepaid expenses තියෙනවා 20,000. 20,000. හරි. එහෙනම් දැන් මට කියන්න 2019 වල මේ තියෙන 2019 මේ තියෙන 2020 මට කියන්නේ නම් 2019 වල current assets කීයද එනම් 2019 වල current assets 90 නේ. හරි එහෙනම් කීයද liquid assets? එහෙනම් මෙන්න 2019 liquid assets එනවා කීයද 90,000 වලින් ඔයා deduct කරනවා කීයක්ද? This 10,000 plus 20,000. පැහැදිලිද? Right. එනවාට එනවා 60,000. 60,000 divided by 30. Because current liabilities remain unchanged. එනවාට එනවා නේද මෙතන percentage එකක්. Right? 21 කියලා. මොකද මෙතන 60,000 divided by 30. හරි. දැන් අපිට හිතන්න වෙනවා කොහොමද 2:1 ratio එකක් මෙතන 1:1 උනේ කියලා. Right? What do you think, guys? What do you think? මේකේ අදහස තමයි ඔයාගේ liquid assets අඩු වෙලා නේද? මොනවද දීලා තියෙන options? liquid assets අඩු වෙන්න ඕනේ නේද? දැන් මට කියන්න දෙක එකට තියෙන එක එකට වුණොත් මොකද වෙන්නේ? ඒ කියන්නේ අනිවාර්යෙන්ම මෙන්න මේ liquid assets වල decrease එකක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ 2020 year එකේ. මොකද ඔයාට එන්න ඕනේ 1 කියන percentage එක. අපි එහෙම assume කළොත් 270,000 වලින් it's something like this. So it's like for the 2020 year මේ බලන්න. හරි. 2020 year වල ඔයාට තියෙනවා 200,000, not 200,000. You got like 180, right? So 220 minus 90, so that is the difference, right? So 270 minus 90, you came up with 180, yes, 180, right? 180. So you get current assets 270, and they are out of that end of year stocks prepaid expenses තිබිලා තියෙනවා 180. හරි ඕන බලන්න 270 270, I take the 2020 figures, right? 2020 figures. So then you get 270, which is your current assets. එහෙනම් මෙතනින් අඩු වෙන්න ඕනේ මොනවාද? ඔයාගේ end of year stock එකයි prepaid expenses. සහ ඔයාගේ current liabilities remains unchanged, which is 90. එහෙනම් මට කියන්න මේක බෙදිලා එන answer එක වෙන්න නම්, right? එකට එක වෙන්න නම් අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම ඔයාගේ liquid assets උත් 90 වෙන්න ඕනේ. එහෙනම් liquid assets 90 කියන්නේ මෙතනින් 180 අඩු වෙන්න ඕනේ. එහෙනම් අපිට කියන්න පුළුවන් end of year stocks 100,000, right? ඒ වගේම ඔයාගේ prepaid expenses 80 කියලා. For some cases දැන් ගොඩක් වෙලාවට business වල prepaid expenses ටිකක් එහෙම අඩුයි. ගොඩක් වෙලාවටම අපි අඩු කරන්නේ end of year stock එක තමයි, right? හැබැයි prepaid expenses තිබුණා that also we deduct. හරි දැන් බලන්න මට ආස එක කියන්නේ මෙතන එනවා නේද බලන්න 270 වලින් 180 අඩු කරන්න 90,000. So 90 divided by 9. එහෙනම් මොකද වෙලා තියෙන්නේ බලන්න. වෙලා තියෙන දේ මොකද්ද? Right? එහෙනම් 2019 වල ඔයාගේ end of year stock එක 10,000. මොකද වෙලා තියෙන්නේ 2020 වෙද්දි 10,000 එක 100,000 වෙලා. පැහැදිලිද කතාව? ඒ වගේම ඔයාගේ end of 2019 වල ඔයාගේ prepaid expenses 20,000 එක 80,000 වෙලා. Somehow these two figures have been increased. So as a result of that, your liquid assets has been decreased. So that is why you get 1. So if you compare these figures, what is our conclusion? So the reason, right, why you are having the same current ratio but not the same quick ratio, whereas that could be the increase of either end of year stock or prepaid expenses. හැබැයි මෙතන ආන්සර් එකක් නැහැ prepaid expenses ඒක ප්‍රශ්නයක් නෑ මොකද ගොඩක් ලාට companies එහෙම ලොකුවට prepaid expenses කරන්නේ නැහැ නේද? වුණත් ඉස්සරහට තියෙන water bill utility bills වල මාස දෙක තුනක් කලින් ගෙවාගෙන ඉන්නේ නැහැ. වැරදිලා ගෙවුනොත් මිසක් නේද? හරි ඒ නිසා අපි ගොඩක්ම consider කරන්නේ end of year stock. එහෙනම් මොනවාද conclusion එක? මෙන්න මේ බලන්න. එහෙනම් reason එක current ratio remains same but your quick ratio remains there's a change in the quick ratio. The reason is that the liquid assets. Liquid assets had the reasons තමයි එක්ක end of year stock එක වැඩි වෙන්න ඕනේ එහෙම නැත්නම් prepaid expense එහෙම නැත්නම් ඒ දෙකම. බලන්න එහෙම බලුවොත් ඔයාලට ආන්සර් එකක් තියනවාද කියලා. එහෙනම් මෙන්න පළවෙනි option එක. And increase of the company's liquidity. company's liquidity කියන්නේ වෙනම scenario එකක්. ඒක මෙතන අදාළ නැහැ. Then the increase of a closing stock. Yes. Because of the increase of the closing stock value, what happened? Your liquid assets decreases. මොකද ඔයාගේ current assets වලින් ඔයා liquid assets අඩු කරනවා. ඒතර එතනදී ඔයා ගන්නේ current assets වලින් end of year stock and the prepaid expenses. So then option 3 decrease නෑ. Decrease of closing stock මට කියන්න ඔයාගේ end of year stock value එක අඩු වුණා නම් ඔයාලට වැඩිපුර liquid assets තියෙනවා. පැහැදිලිද මම මේ කියන එක? මොකද ඔයාගේ end of year stock එන්න අඩු වෙනවා කියන්නේ there's no much difference between current assets and liquid assets. Right? There's not much difference between current assets. එහෙනම් මේ දෙක අතර ලොකු gap එකක් එන්න හේතුව තමයි එක්කෝ end of year stock වැඩි වෙන්න ඕනේ එහෙම නැත්නම් prepaid expenses වැඩි වෙන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට අපිට option 3 එකත් අයින් කරන්න පුළුවන්. Next one. A decrease of company's liquidity නෑ නේද? එහෙම කතාවක් නෙමෙයි මෙතන කියන්නේ. An increase of company's total liabilities. Liabilities ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ මෙතන. Liabilities වල issue එකක් නැහැ. The issue is with the assets. Right? එහෙනම් question number 25. Correct answer number 2. Guys, shall we have this explanation, please? try. You don't have to think this like because I came up with these assumptions for you to explain this in a more detailed manner, right? You need to have that knowledge to think why there is a change in this percentage or this ratio because of the increase of the end of year. So because that is the difference between current assets versus liquid assets. තැනකින් ලියන්න the difference between current assets මේ බලන්න මෙතන අපි ගන්න current assets මෙතන star එකක් දාගන්න right quick ratio එකේ ගන්න liquid assets කොහොමද liquid assets ගන්නෙ එහෙනම් you will be deduct both end of year stock value and the prepaid expenses so here 2020 figures ආට පේනවා මොකද්ද වෙනස මෙතන නේද 10,000 එක 100,000 වෙලා තියෙනවා right let's quickly take this Okay, shall I give another 1 minute? Hope you are clear. If you have any questions, just let me know. Right, so with that, question number 25, correct answer number 2. Right, so that's about 2020 paper. So good questions they have checked. Now let's see 2019. And so also guys, we need to start working on, right, this MCQ book. So we'll be discussing those questions on Wednesday, right? Our MCQ book question number 268 to 289. They're like 20 to 21 questions that also need to start working on. So then I'll give you this prior to the session. So then you have time to go through the question and come up with the answers, right? So let's move to 2020 paper, 2019 paper. There were no MCQs tested in that year, but we have a question which is from the fill in the blanks. I know that you hate that area, but anyway, we have to do. Question number 39A, right? Can I give you a few time? Right, what do you think the long-term financial decision can be categorized as? Right, what is the nature? Capital nature, the capital structure, right? Capital structure and dividends related decisions, right? Because in the long term, what you expect is dividends, right? Okay. And that sort of questions, I don't see any short answer type questions. So let's move to part 2 of the paper. So part 2, we have got some questions. Question number 7. Guys, can we focus on 7.1? Explain two sources of external finance for the business, and also with the two limitations. So it's like, just try to read the question properly, because some students just explain two sources of external finance and they forget the fact that you need to write some explanations as well, right? Which is the two limitations. That's why they are giving you 4 marks. And then question number 2A and also 2B, right? So altogether 8 marks. Right, guys, what do you think? There are some classification that we classify the how we can obtain resources, right? So one method is internal methods, or the internal sources or external sources. For example, that if you use your retained earnings, if you sell one of the extra asset and try to find some sources, that's internal. Now think about the external. What do you think, guys? Now, there are plenty of options when you go for the external. Like you can go for like leasing facilities, bank loans, debentures, ODs, share issues, and there are obviously limitations because by most of the cases your liability will be increased, right? Let me share the answers from the marking schemes, and I'll show you how they have allocated marks as well. So as you see here, right, for 2 facts, 1 mark each, so you'll be getting 2 marks, and for the limitations, 1 mark into 2 limitations, 2 marks, right? So shall we have a note on this, please? So share issues and bank loan, leasing, mortgage, hire purchases, debentures, bank hold is all external, and the limitation, there will be cost. Now, when you sell an asset, there is no cost, right? You don't have to pay installment, you don't have to pay interest. But if you instead that you are selling an asset or a land from your business, if you obtain a bank loan, there will be a cost, which is the interest. And not easy source the fund. It's not easy to obtain a leasing facility. It's not easy to obtain a bank loan. If you have a couple of documentations, couple of steps that you have to follow, and obviously the collaterals are monari guarantors la, and also that will increase the liability of the business. Now, if you sell an asset and get some money, there's no impact to liability, but instead your assets will be decreased. But here your liability will be increased, so that that have an impact to your business stability as well. Right, so easy stuff. 4 marks. You can easily get these 4 marks. I don't think there's any difficulties. Right. With that, shall we next to our next move to next section? State 4 factors that influence. Sorry, describe the importance of the liquidity ratios for a business. In a business එකට ඇයි liquidity ratios අවශ්‍ය වෙන්නේ? මේ තියෙන liquidity ratios, right? Your current ratios. So this will shows you the ability that for you to, right, settle your current obligations, right? එහෙනම් දැන් හිතන්න මෙහෙම දෙයක් තිබුණා කියලා. දැන් ඔයාට තියෙන මෙන්න බලන්න current liabilities වගේ තුන් ගුණයක් තියෙන current assets. So quite a good situation because you have some strength to settle your current assets, right? So likewise, if you think that manner, but if it is something like 1, so then that is where you struggle to settle your current obligations. So let's see that. So we discussed the importance of the ratios, but they are specifically asking, not generally, that they are specifically asked what side of importance when it comes to the liquidity ratios. So අපිට ඒකට match වෙන විදිහට තමයි answer එක ලියන්න වෙන්නේ. Able to understand the ability to meet short-term liabilities and also able to understand the ability of settling current liabilities quickly. Now make it order 2 marks ලැබෙනවා, just 1 point, and then make it a pointer ගානේ 1 into 2, just 2 marks. So did you send us the tubes? Yes, guys, tubes have been posted. So you'll be get those prior we start our next lesson, which is HR. HR lesson එක අපි Monday next Monday start කරනවා. Other මේකේ paper discussion ඊට පස්සේ Wednesday අපේ MCQ book එකේ discussion එක. So then yeah, on Monday with the ටික ලැබෙයි. Just let me know once you received. Right, so that is fine. When our ඊළඟ question එක state 4 factors that influence the increase of the share price of a company. Right, මේක අපි කලින් කතා කරලා තියෙනවා. Company එකක share price එක වැඩි වෙන හේතු මොනවාද? Can you just send me one reason? මට එක හේතුවක් කියන්න. What do you think, guys? I company එකේ share price එක වැඩි වෙන්නේ. Another හේතු. Can you just send me one reason that you think increase in the demand of shares. So guys, here, so it's about the demand and supply, how the price price decide with demand and supply. It අමතරව ඉතින් ඔය රජය ඇවිල්ලා control prices ඒවා දානවා මම කියන්නේ for a good. ඉතින් අපි දැන් ඩොලර් එක බැලුවත් නේද foreign exchange demand and supply මත තමයි ඒක decide වෙන්නේ. ඒක අමතරව රජය මේක control කරන්න හදනවා artificially. ඒ කියන්නේ අර ඩොලර් එක 202 හරි 204 කාලයක් තියාගෙන ඉඳලා ලොකු impact එකක් ආවත් හරි. So when you come to yes, that's reason. Now, how what are the reasons for the increase of the demand of the shares? Obviously, the company's performance, company's reputation, and also the economical factors that also matters, right? Economics and also political stability. ඡන්දයක් එහෙම ලං වෙද්දී ගොඩක් වෙලා share market එක ගොඩක් drop වෙනවා. හැබැයි ආපහු political stability stable වුණාට පස්සේ අනිවාර්යෙන්ම එතනත් share market එකේ growth එකක් තියෙනවා. දැන් අර July president resigned July 9 10 නේද? කොහමද ඒ දාන් පස්සේ එකපාර share market එකේ up එකක් තිබුණා. ඒ වගේ political reasons උත් අනිවාර්යෙන්ම බලපානවා. So can we write a couple of things? Increase of the share price of the company. Right, just 4 reasons. Our reasons හතරක් ලියන්න තියෙන හැබැයි එක reason එකට ඔයාලට හම්බ වෙන්නේ just 0.5 marks. Demand and supply of the shares, goodwill, yes, the reputation, and the dividend policy. The kochara dividend pay earning per share, and also the economic factors of the country, political factors, which means political stability, the behavior of the investors, and also confidence of the managers. Again, skillful managers like no other key persons la make no other managerial positions for एक reason because then investor will think this manager is there, this particular corporate leader is in that company, so probably he will make the company profits more than the previous year. So likewise they think that that particular person will bring more energy, more profits to the business, so then they will invest. Yeah, guys, so that's all about when you come to 2090. Let's move to 2018 paper. Again, you got 2 MCQs as well. 2018 will out MCQs dekak dila tina. So once complete with that, let's move to the part 2. So I hope this is done. Nothing much. Even we have explained these factors. Right, guys, shall we please come to 2018 paper? Let me share my screen. So 2018 A-level, question number 23 and 24. Right, please share your answers. it's a kind of a different question, right? They're not asking a specific one. They're asking from the above the number of ratios which have been calculated correctly, right? ඒ කියන්නේ මෙතන තියෙනවා incorrect formulas උත් තියෙනවා. ඒතරා බලන්න ඕනේ correct formulas කීයක් තියෙනවද කියන එක. So which will, kind of a difficult questions නේද? මේ වගේ වල අරවට guess කරලා යන්න chance එකක් නැහැ ඇත්තටම. You make sure you know the exact. Now, for example, if you think A is incorrect, then you should know B, C, D, E with all correct or incorrect. Then all you can come up with an answer, right? What do you think, guys? What do you think? Question number 23. අපි ලේසියෙන්ම ගන්න පුළුවන්නේ current ratio නේද? Current assets divided by current liabilities. ඒක හරිනේ. What else? First එක හරිද? Which is ROI, return on investments. Net profits after tax and interest. And the next profit and the net profit after tax and interest divided by fixed assets there. Return on investment කියනවා ඔයාගේ total assets වල කොච්චර return එකක්ද? The ratio, right, which shows the relationship between the returns of the business related to the total investment. නැත්නම් ඔයාගේ total assets. So it is unfair if you only consider fixed assets, right? එහෙනම් ඔයාගේ A එක වැරදි. What do you think? B, ROE. ROE හරිද? Net profit after tax plus dividends on performance shares. එහෙනම් මෙතන බලන්නේ total investment, total return එක නෙමෙයි ඔයාගේ equity capital එකට return එක. So in order to calculate the return for the equity capital, you need to deduct the dividends, not to add the dividend, right? එහෙනම් net profit after tax එකෙන් you will be deducting the dividends that you earn. But here they are, adding dividends. එහෙනම් ඒකත් වැරදි. Then you got the total assets turnover ratio. Total assets turnover ratio. What do you think, guys, about that? Total assets turnover ratio. Right? Yes, it's the sales and the total assets. ඒක හරිනේ. ඒකට total assets වලට කොච්චර sale එකක් කරලාද? Debtors turnover ratio. Debtors turnover ratio, which is your sales divided by your average debtors. But එතන අපි ගන්න ඉතින් credit sales තමයි. එතන පොඩි issue එකක් තියෙනවා නේද? They have just mentioned as sales. So we usually take only the credit sales, but when they haven't provided the credit sales, we assume all sales are credit. But let's see. So එම බැලුවොත් අපිට මෙතන දෙකක් හරිනේ. Yes, අපිට එතන තමයි ගන්න. මොකද මෙතන පොඩි issue එකක් තියෙනවා නේද? We cannot consider all sales because it should be credit sales. ඒ නිසා අතන අපිට මෙතන ගන්න බෑ. මොකද it says sales. Right? And බැලුවොත් අපිට only 2 නේද? Yes. Yeah. Yes, so it's a good one, right? So question number 23, correct answer number 2. Right, guys. What about 24? Column X shows certain types of securities traded in Colombo Stock Exchange and the benefits entitled. Hi. අපි දන්නවා ordinary shares වලට මොනවද ලැබෙන්නේ? interest rate ලැබෙනවද? company ownership එක ලැබෙනවා. ඒක හරි. Right, having more protection එකක් නැහැ. Fixed profits උත් නැහැ. මෙතන එනවා entitlement for a company ownership, right? So ordinary shares holders will be, owners of the company. Now A for 3 should be there. එහෙනම් අපිට ඔක්කොම answers අයින් කරන්න පුළුවන්. A for 3 නැති answers. So then it should be 2 or 3, right? 2 or 3. හරි. B මොනවාද? Preference shares. Preference shares. Yes, the preference shares වලට ඔයාලට තියෙනවා fixed interest rate එකක් ලැබෙනවානේ. Sorry, not a fixed interest, it's a fixed profit, right? Because it's shares, no, yes, it's a fixed profit. එහෙනම් B5 තියෙන්නත් ඕනේ. එම බැලුවොත් අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම මාසයක් ලැබෙනවා නේද? third option එක B5. එහෙනම් preference shares you get the fixed profit, fixed profit percentage, not the interest. share warrant එකකදී ඔයාලට ලැබෙනවා එහෙනම් capital gain එක අපි කතා කරා share warrants වලට ඔයාලට future date එකකදී ගන්න පුළුවන් price එකකට agree වෙනවා you will be purchase. එතකොට එහෙනම් මේක හිතන්න නේද? එහෙනම් future price ඔයාගේ agreed price එක අඩුයි හැබැයි future price එක වැඩි වෙලා. එහෙනම් you get a chance of a capital gain. මොකද you agreed I'll be purchasing for 100 rupees per share. But when that date comes, where you see in the market, you have this share like 150, right? And for each share, you'll be making a 50 rupees of a capital gain. In corporate debentures, which is entitlement of a fixed interest rate, yes, and the government debt security, you get this having a more protection. And then value, yes, question number 24. Correct answer number 3. Right, guys. So let's see part 2 as well, and let's see whether they have provided any kind of yeah, they have provided you some short answer type question, which is true and false statement. Just 2 of it. Now let's focus on that as well. Question number 40. State whether the following statements are true or false. Right, guys, what do you think? True or false? Please share answers. Number 1, is that true or false? Guys, I'm having a power cut, so that's why I just disconnected. Right, what do you think? The first statement is it's false, right? Neither false, neither. Issuing shares for the existing owner shareholders by charging money is a bonus share. නෑ නේද? bonus එකක් කියන එක අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම free ලැබෙන දෙයක් නේ. එහෙනම් bonus issue එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම just free of charge they'll be distributed. නමුත් මෙතන කියනවා by charging money. එහෙනම් ඒක වැරදි. එහෙනම් statement number 1 එක false. Number 2, issuing shares free of charge is a right issue. නෑ ඒකද right issue කියලා කියන්නේ. right issue එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ market price එකට වඩා අඩුවෙන් ඔයාට ගන්න chance එකක් දෙනවා. That's the right issue. Right? It's not that distributing free of charge. For example, market එකේ share price එක 100 rupees now, the company will give you the chance or the opportunity for you to purchase at 75 rupees. So then you get that benefit. So that's the right issue. Okay, guys, so rest of the question we'll focus on next day. And please make sure you start working on, like I said, question number 268 to 289 from the MCQ book that we'll be discussing on this Wednesday. And also let's see, if the time allows for us to discuss some more past papers as well. Right, guys, so thank you for joining, and we'll see you with the next session.